Today I'm going to do a demo on how to make your monochromatic Mondrian painting, adding colors to your base color. Today your table is going to add colors to your base color to make your painting monochromatic. You're going to be choosing colors that will make it in the same color family but slightly change your base color. The materials table should look like this when we start class and when we finish class. All the base colors are here with lids on them. Then we have blacks and whites to tint and shade your base color, as well as other colors in the color wheel that you should get your neighbor colors that go next to your base color. Finally, you'll use these transparency papers on top of white paper as your palette. You'll do all your mixing on those papers, and some of them, once they have wet paint on them, can just be left on your table for the next class. I'm going to use this red table as a demo. Your first job is to determine where your squares and rectangles are. Some kids painted over the tape so it's hard to see. Once you've found a square or a rectangle to paint, let's see, I'm going to find a kind of a smaller one for this demo. You want to determine, here's one right here. Okay, it goes like this over here, and then it goes up right here. You're going to determine which color you want to paint it. Do you want to paint it just the base color so you have some pure red? Do you want to tint it towards white? Do you want to shade it towards black? Or do you want to change the hue slightly towards one of the neighbor colors? In this case, I'm just going to start out making this my base color so that we have a few squares that are perfectly painted red. Because I have this base color in this jar right here, and I'm not going to change it, I can just put my brush straight into the base color and then finish painting this square, this rectangle, to cover up any of the cracks that have developed. Okay, so done, covered up the cracks. That one is just going to be left the base color. Now for mixing. Mixing I'm going to do on this palette. There's some paint on it left over from last year, which is fine. All your mixing needs to be done using these paddles to take your paint and put it on your palette. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this paddle, grab a little bit of white. You can put it on top of the same color that was there. And then you want to take some of your base color on the paddle and put it on your palette. All the mixing is done now on the palette. You never contaminate that white, that red, or any of your other colors that you're using for mixing. So now I can use my brush. It has some red on it already, but that's okay. I'm going to just try to mix a tint of red. So I'm going to take a little bit of white. My brush already has red on it, so it's actually creating a pinkish color without even adding any red. The dark colors are very strong, the light colors are weak, and they will not create as light of a color if you add a lot of red, for example. Okay, I just mixed white and red to create a tint of red. In other words, this pink is a tint of red, and I'm going to put it in this rectangle right here. So as I paint, I want to do a nice even coat, making sure to get all the way to the edges without going across into another square. This is where you have to pay attention to the tape and try not to get your color in another square next door. Notice I'm having to constantly mix. You need a lot of paint for this, so you have to mix maybe as you go along, and you want to mix only on your palette. Okay? I have a nice pink done here. What I'll probably do is let it dry and come back and do a second coat. Now, what if I want to switch and do a different hue? I want to change my base color a little bit. I'll show you what you have to do. Your first step is to go wash your brush in the sink. Brush washing can be done by using warm water on the left side, and you rub the brush on your hand until no more color comes out. Sometimes you have to squeeze it to get any color that's stuck up in the top of it, and rub it, and then don't flick it on the side of the sink. Just kind of squeeze out the water before you change your color, and make sure the water's turned off. To change the hue today of your base color, we are going to add its neighbor colors. So if you are the red table, look to the neighbors above and below the red. When you go get the two colors at the table, materials table that you need, grab orange, which is a neighbor to red, and purple. Now I want to mix a red that's still in the red color family, but this time I'm going to add a little bit of orange to it to change its hue slightly, right? So I've got my orange here, I've got my red, and I've got my clean brush. I'm going to take just a little bit of red and add it to this orange. It'll make like a pumpkin-y orange or a reddish orange that's still in the red family. And then I want to pick a square or a rectangle where I'm going to paint this color and try to find a spot where it does not have the same color next to it. Okay? This color is a little see-through. I'm not a super huge fan of it. I'm going to add a little bit of white to the orange, a little bit more red, and hopefully it'll be more opaque, which means not see-through, more like a wall, less like a window. Okay? What I'm seeing though is that I'll probably just need to come back with a second coat later, but at least I have a version of a reddish orange in this square here that is still part of the monochromatic red color family. This is what we're going to do for today. At the end of the day, you're going to leave your palettes on the table. Your brushes go to the sink, the far one over by the closet, where the brush washers will start washing them. And all of your paints, your base color in the tubs with their sticks are going to go back on the materials table. Make sure you grab a sponge out of the bucket and wash off your stools and the floor, table washers. Everybody else needs to hang up their apron better than the last class did. Write in your planner, and we'll see you next time.